Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. If it is your first time to come across this channel, remember to subscribe, like and also drop your comment. Today I would like to talk about to drop something that has recently happened in Jamaica, and I would like to talk about the government of Jamaica, how it should supposed to do that, and their thing according to the will of the people. As we will see, we have a debate there that I would like to urge that just concentrate and listen to some of the conversation from our leaders, how they want good things from the Jamaicans. So guys, let us watch this clip and then I'll come up with more reaction.
Madam Speaker, the JPS has reported that it has supplemented its resource pool with former employees as well as engaging local contractors from the bauxite industry assigned to Hanover and St. Elizabeth. In addition, the company is currently engaging Carilic, that is the Caribbean Electric Utility Services Corporation, Carilic, to provide support resources in the coming days. We should be getting line workers from countries such as Belize and Cayman who will help JPS to address the outage pockets that exist within the island.
Mr. Speaker, the member's time for speaking has expired. We ask that it be extended by 10 minutes for her to complete her presentation.
The request is on the floor. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it, Madam.
So at Mass Camp, we will have 8 sound systems in a one big lawn on February the 15th. Now, 10 years ago, Kingston was designated a creative city of music by UNESCO. And we will celebrate that milestone with what we call Kingston Rhythms on February on February the 22nd. The weekly live music jam session, Tuesday service, we call it Tuesday service. I'm sure some of you, you're not aware of Tuesday service. I'm inviting you to attend every Tuesday. Tuesday service celebrates its second anniversary and is back on the Reggae Month lineup on February 24. The Island Music Conference, hosted by Shaggy, is now in its 3rd year and again promises to educate and inform industry players by bringing in some of the leading voices in the entertainment business overseas to share insights here from February 25 to 28. In addition, Dancehall Week will run from February 22 to March 1, highlighting the vital role that dancehall continues to play in Jamaica's musical evolution and its connection to reggae's broader cultural journey. The Reggae Gold Awards will take place on 27, recognizing excellence across the reggae industry. And this year, Mr. Speaker, we pay special tribute to Jamaican music stalwart singer Ken Booth, with the entertainment package including performances by a number of our outstanding artists singing Ken Booth hit songs. Now, Ken Booth, he's not in the greatest of health at this time, but his voice is still fantastic. And we will have him there, and he will enjoy just having his colleagues performing his hits. And if he feels like it, he will go on stage and perform as well. There's a saying, don't send me flowers when I'm gone. And so we're making sure that we honor him on this occasion. And the highlight also of Reggae Gold is Luciano being special guest artist accompanied by the Reggae Symphony Orchestra. We're also seeing clear evidence of reggae's global reach and continued relevance. All nominees for this year's Grammy Award for Best Reggae Album are Jamaicans. And that is something we should celebrate. Because there was a time where we felt they were taking our music from us. But we can be really very proud that all the nominees for this year's Grammy Award for Best Reggae Album are Jamaicans. That achievement reflects the authenticity, the leadership, and creative excellence of Jamaican artists and producers in a highly competitive global industry. It reinforces the reality that while reggae is enjoyed worldwide, its creative center, its nerve, remains firmly anchored here in Jamaica. As we observe Reggae Month 2026, we're also strengthening access and engagement through digital platforms. The Reggae Jamaica app provides real-time information on events and activities throughout the month, making it easier for Jamaicans at home and abroad to stay connected. Members of the diaspora are encouraged to participate virtually, culturally, and where possible in person as part of this national celebration. And I should indicate here that the Minister of Tourism and Culture from Sierra Leone will arrive in Jamaica tomorrow for Reggae Month. This year also marks an important new step in the evolution of Reggae Month. For the first time, the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, through the JCDC, has appointed a Reggae Month ambassador. And this initiative strengthens advocacy for reggae locally and internationally and highlights artists who embody the values, the integrity, and cultural responsibility associated with the music. So I am pleased to note that reggae singer Etana has been named the first Reggae Month ambassador. And so she'll be bringing her voice, her experience, and her international reach to this role. So in closing, Reggae Month represents Jamaica's cultural responsibility to honor, protect, and promote one of our greatest contributions to the world. At a time when our nation has experienced loss, recovery, and reflection, reggae continues to remind us of our resilience, our creativity, and our shared identity. All our artists came on board after Hurricane Melissa, and they did a tremendous job. They were like part of the first responders. They hit the ground, and they were out there assisting our people. And the response has been tremendous in the Isle of Jamaica series of shows. Maybe next week I'll come to Parliament to announce the funds that we have raised so far. But we have done very well, and all our artists have really shown how much they love Jamaica. Unfortunately, we are losing our pioneers. And, you know, today, for example, is a very sad day because we lost Cat Core, and then we lost Sly Dunbar. Never Garrick, who was Bob Marley's art director, who passed. I think it could have been last year. We lost his wife this morning. We lost Bob Clark, who worked very closely with me when we established IRI FM. And, you know, the passing of our pioneers and those who have paved the way will create a void that is going to be hard to fill. Next week, we will pay tribute to a number of these artists. We won't be doing it today. We want to invite Cat Core's family and Sly Dunbar's family to Parliament next week, and Bob Clark's family. And so, delaying our tribute for next week, we'll have them present here so that they can share in the tribute. So while the world enjoy reggae, and while we mourn the loss of our pioneers, reggae music remains the soul of our culture. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Member from St. Catherine, Northwestern.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you. I want to thank the Minister and her team, including the Junior Minister, for presenting the Minister of State. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. But I'll leave you to warm me to start you out with it. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the team for presenting a plan that seems to be fitting for Reggae Month and for a genre that has contributed so much to the Jamaican space, the Jamaican identity, and the Jamaican reality. Mr. Speaker, only an individual who loves the music in this way could have been so fulsome in her representation of what Reggae Month should include and feature going through the period that exists. However, Mr. Speaker, I still believe that we are leaving a lot on the table for what reggae, dancehall, and the Jamaica's entertainment as an industry can do for our nation. As was highlighted, many of our stalwarts are now being lost to the natural circumstances of biology. And to that extent, we should move hastily to capture some of their stories and information in documentaries, etc., so that that can be shared with our children moving forward. I have often wondered, in a time that even the pigment of your skin was resisted, how did Rastafarians endure touring in Europe and the United States in the 50s and 60s? We would love to hear those stories so that history don't repeat itself. We also feel it is time for us to have our own entertainment walk of fame. I think that these persons should be honored in their time, and a walk of fame would be able to capture many of these individuals who have contributed greatly. In our time, we are, well, you don't have to steal it, I'm giving it this time. Well, in our time, we had looked at the park in New Kingston as one of the areas that were, not, you are my friend, you know, he, not so much. All right, I take it, you are my friend. But we were looking at the park in New Kingston as a possible host for such a walk of fame, and the NHT, who has duty to the park, could always contribute to such a maintenance of a entertainment walk of fame. I am pleased with the continuation of the entertainment registry and and its development. However, yes. And also, Kingston as a creative city, 2015 December. However, there is also opportunity to expand on that. I however feel, Minister, that there should also be an extension of the celebration of the culture at a constituency level. I believe that constituencies should have been offered the opportunity to suggest programs and to have plans so that they too could celebrate the reggae industry, not too late, on a localized level that also creates ownership of the industry. It is, and yes, there's an example of how well you did something for independence and that celebration that could have spanned the entire, and the TEF could always be called on to participate in that, because many of us here, our constituencies, have limited access to some of the events that has been highlighted in the centers of the nation and would not have had.
With the members' time for speaking having expired, we ask that he be given an extension of 5 minutes to complete his presentation.
Those in favor? Those against, ayes have it. You may continue. Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Additionally, so yes, Mr. Speaker, we'd hope for a consideration of an expansion of impacts to the constituencies so that there could be ownership of such a global industry within the space. Also, Mr. Speaker, we ask for the revival of the entertainment ambassador program, because they have been chief influencers to traveling to Jamaica, chief influencers to consuming the tourism product, and there is an opportunity to partner with these individuals as ambassadors. We believe also it is fitting for us once again, Minister, to recognize how important dance is to the entertainment industry and to the reggae industry as a whole. And also we have seen where there has been the utilization of our creativity without much compensation to those who were the original creators. No less of than a Beyonce used dirty wine. I don't know if I can say that in Parliament. Dirty wine. Dirty. At the NFL stage, with not dirty wine, with not even a mention of those who were the chief creators of that activity. Finally, Minister, the extension of entertainment activities cannot be reserved only to the February period. As you know, is a space for which many have depended for economic existence and survival. All the round robins, etc. And it is an area of real concern to me because of the prejudice that I've seen. Large events have never been subject to the Noise Abatement Act. Never have I seen noise abatement for Sumfest. Never have I seen noise abatement for Sting. Never have I seen noise abatement for large activities. But at any given time, the police can always encounter those who are trying to start with the Noise Abatement Act. There must be a legitimate method for application and implementation of extensions. I congratulate you on starting the event zones, and we see one there out in Fort Rocky. I hope to have conversations with you about extending to community zones, and again calling upon our colleagues to make recommendation of what could be an extension zone within their own communities for evaluation from the police and others to ensure that the nuisance of entertainment don't disturb those who don't want to participate. Once again, Minister, I'm pleased of the effort that I've seen put forward here. I'm pleased of the fulsome activities that gives reggae a celebration that it deserves. And I really hope we can work together as a nation and as a parliament to take the full value of what entertainment can bring to our people and our country. Thank you very much.
Member from St. Mary Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before asking the question, Minister, you can count on my support. And I think some very good amendments have been made to the suggestions have been made to the lineup for Reggae Month. I'm very happy that dancehall is being given some pride of place in terms of the celebration, and you managed two of the entertainers who were kind of the soundtrack to my life growing up. Don't know if I'm allowed to name them, but you can count on the support in that regard. Dancehall Week, Madam Speaker, this is something that has been close to me for some time, and I'm happy to hear that someone with the talent and resources of a Ramesh has been added. I just want to know whether the conceptualizers and the original organizers of Dancehall Week who struggled with the product, whether they will continue to be a part of it. Dave Golson comes to mind, for example, as one of the persons. In terms of the localizing of the celebration and making it relevant to constituencies and parishes, I sat down, and before the member who responded spoke, I was trying to identify a parish like St. Mary in the celebration, which has provided entertainers such as Panhead and Capleton and Yaxter and a whole Barry Salmon, a significant number. And so I want to know, Madam Speaker, the local promoters who you have indicated that you're listing, I want to know the nature of the engagement, whether we're just documenting or we'll be providing any support, and if there's a mechanism for local promoters who want to participate in Reggae Month to submit and be able to participate. Is there an official, I know you mentioned some elements of the calendar. Will you have signature parish events, for example, that we can look at and see how we become a part of it? In terms of the symposium, I want to know if these will all be in Kingston and the West, or whether they will be extended to outer parishes, because in the outer parishes we have a lot of people who make a living from entertainment but might not be the mainstream names and faces that you would know, and they could benefit from the information. So whether it is to digitize and share, or it is to have some smaller symposium in other parishes. And that is it. You spoke to the fallen pioneers, and next week you will do a tribute, and we'll be on that. Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank my two parliamentary colleagues for their contribution, and I've noted your recommendations and suggestions. I just want to highlight the fact that during the course of Reggae Month, at some point, I will be making an announcement about the next steps to the development of the Jamaica Music Museum, of which Herbie Miller is the curator. We're in final stages of a discussion with a major record company, the largest reggae record company in the world, to collaborate with us in developing the Jamaica Music Museum. We broke ground, and we are now moving to the stage where we know we can fund the development of this museum. Yes, the idea of a walk of fame, that is also going to be pursued, but the Reggae Gold Awards is an occasion when we induct our performers into the Hall of Fame. And so that event will be held, and there are some recommendations that have come in, and they are being looked at. Now, yes, during the independence celebrations, I was able to negotiate funds that you were able, or MPs were able to do something extra during the celebrations. Because of Hurricane Melissa, I've not been able to negotiate those funds for Reggae Month. But you have your constituency development fund, and you do have some. I'm not a magician, you know, right? But I'd still ask. But you can, I'm sure you have some allocation for cultural activities that you may want to put on some community dances, right? But there are promoters in every parish who are putting on events. I mean, I can make available to you a list, and you may want to reach out to them and find a way to identify and to be a part of that. There are a few promoters who have written to us to ask us for sponsorship, and we are considering. So it may not be a lot, but we will be giving support to some promoters. Now, there was mention about dance. Dance is important with the music, and we have had many outstanding dancers who have come up. And Mr. Seaga would say, the late Edward Seaga would say, in Jamaica, there is a move to every music, right? That's why you had the ska, then you had the ska movements. And so we have been able to create a dance for every genre. And that is now being taken under consideration in the Green Paper policy. So it's not only about the music, but it's also about the movement. And we will have an opportunity in our discussions on the Green Paper, the policy on culture, entertainment, and the creative sector. We'll have an opportunity to all make our inputs in that. During Reggae Month, we also use the opportunity to build capacity. So you have an organization for the different sectors. And in having those organizations for the sectors, we help to build capacity. So, for example, to be registered on the e-registry, your sector organization must sign off on you as a member so that there is more structure to the sector. Noise abatement, that has always been a sore issue. We do not have as much pushback right now from the police, from the JCF, and we are working together. They hardly turned down an extension that I signed. And we are working on regularizing, but it won't be the noise abatement. It will be the sound regulation legislation, right? Because music is a noise, right? So we feel strongly that it should not be referred to as noise abatement, but rather to treat with the sound regulations. Entertainment zones, I'll be announcing shortly some of the areas that are going to be designated. We have started, for example, Olympic Way is coming up, right? There are some locations, because there is an issue with parking, like Sabina Park. We're trying to work through that. If you have in your constituencies areas that you would want to recommend as an entertainment zone, please provide us with the information, and we will deal with it. The original organizers of Dancehall Week, they are very much a part of the team with Ramesh. What we're able to do was to bring them together so that Dancehall Week and the activities could be more organized and have stronger support, even in terms of the finances. Now, somebody mentioned PANED. Um, oh, I used to manage PANED. I was, yes. And the local promoters who are doing the events, as I said earlier, I would want you to reach out to them. I'll provide a list, parish by parish, so that you can reach out to them and identify with their activities. I don't know if I can find funds or if I will be able to convince anyone to provide, you know, a little seed fund to help you to build the spirit in your constituency. But that's an effort I will, right? And then, although things, although a number of things are being held in Kingston, there are things happening outside of Kingston. And the activities that are national will be streamed, including the symposium. So it means that persons from across the island and even in the diaspora will have a chance to participate or to observe what is happening. So those are my closing remarks. So thank you so much. I want to see all of you at the events. I'm inviting all of you to come to the events, all my colleagues. Right? And Minister Samuda was at the launch, and the launch was fantastic. Minister Morrison, Minister of State, she was at the launch. We had, you know, in the business, when you have standing room only, it means you sell off. Right? And it was really a successful event. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, everyone.
Question and answers to question.
Mr. Speaker, I'm seeking clarification again because an attempt was made yesterday by a member to inquire or to submit questions to the Speaker for approval for tabling today. And it was followed by, again, a document circulated to the member which confused the process. And I'm really hoping that we can clarify this finally. And also to be able to get a clear timeline as to when, what time during Monday, the questions must be submitted for them to be properly vetted for tabling today. Because I think it's unfair that the member having submitted the questions for vetting yesterday, the approval has not come as yet. So I'm urging that a definitive statement be made as to what time on the Monday is the cutoff time for the tabling of questions, so that we don't have a confused state of affairs going forward.
I think on this matter, the Speaker has issued clear directions in relation to the questions to be submitted. I think my recollection is within at least 24 hours before one intends to table them. But this is a process. Once the questions are tabled, then the questions, in accordance with the standing order, have to be vetted, looked at, examined by the Speaker to ensure that they are in accordance with said standing orders. We would have gone through this process already. The letter, my understanding, with the questions would have come in yesterday, and the Speaker at the time has not gotten the chance as yet to look at it, and as such, the questions are not now here with us. As we can all appreciate, the Speaker is not in the House at this time, and as such, as such, based on the time when the questions arrived, and the Speaker not being able to peruse the questions at that time, the questions are not yet before us. I'm very certain that as soon as the Speaker can peruse the questions, once the questions are in keeping with the standing orders, then the questions will be so tabled at the next appropriate time.
It's my time. I think I was up before you.
The member was before you.
Mr. Speaker, the standing order says the questions are delivered before the sitting of the House. The decision was that at least 24 hours before. If a member submits his or her question 24 hours before, it's no business of the member whether the speaker look at it or not. It's supposed to be with it before the sitting. It can be 10 minutes before. It can be 10 minutes before. Okay? So if the speaker says 24 hours, the member make them available to the clerk before. Okay? If the member delivered to the clerk 24 hours before, it's not the member's fault. So we can't say the speaker didn't have the time to look at them. Why the hell did you ask for the 24 hours before? It's not the member's fault. The speaker took 24 hours. The member filled his or her obligation. So it's not our business whether or not the speaker look at it. It's our obligation to review it before. So don't tell the member this time. Don't tell the member. Don't tell the member the speaker didn't get a chance to look at it. That's not unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And we shouldn't bring the House to that level to come with this nonsense about they get a chance to read. Nonsense.
Before you, House Leader, let me just read from the standing order.
Based on my information.
Sorry, turn the mic on.
Based on my information, the questions were submitted at 3:41 p.m. yesterday. That is my information.
Members. Before you all speak, I will be reading from the standing order as it relates to questions. Section 14, nature of question, subsection 2. Notice of a question may be handed by a member to the clerk during the period known as question time. Every such notice shall be signed by the member giving it. A member who desires an oral answer to a question shall mark his notice with an asterisk, and a question not so marked shall require a written answer, which, when received, shall be circulated with the minutes of the proceedings of the House. Subject to paragraph 5, a question mark for oral answer shall be put down for a day to be named by the member, being a day not earlier than 21 clear days after the question has appeared on the question paper. I am reading from the book, that's all.
Mr. Speaker, in adopting the position advanced earlier by the member from Southwest St. Catherine, I would just like to say, Mr. Speaker, that anything can happen to the sitting speaker. And if we can advance now by urging the deputy speaker to also be in a position to vet these questions and to signal approval. So it need not have to wait on the substantive speaker to address these routine matters. And the section that you have read already, the section you've read, Mr. Speaker, it really is not relevant to the issue at hand. All right?
So, Mr. Speaker, I would have just gotten sight of the Speaker's ruling on this matter the last time that it came up. And what I said earlier was not a part of the Speaker's ruling in relation to the 24-hour period. What the Speaker had indicated in her ruling is that the standing orders are to be strictly adhered to. In other words, at question time, the member looking to table questions are to hand up the questions at that time. At that time, the questions, then there will be a vetting of the questions. It does not mean that the questions being handed up at this time, that the Speaker who is currently sitting in the House will be able to vet them immediately and to see if they are keeping with the standing orders. And to be clear, let me just read what was said. Standing Orders 15.2 provides as a notice of a question may be handed to the clerk during question time. So when the Speaker indicates question time, all members are reminded that strict adherence to this standing order is required to avoid confusion or conflict. So in other words, bringing it in before 24 hours, that's not the methodology, right? So, no, that's not what this is the ruling of the Speaker. Once received by the clerk, when it comes to question, once received by the clerk, each question must be submitted to the Speaker to enable the discharge of the responsibilities under Standing Order 16.2. That standing order empowers the Speaker to determine whether a question infringes any standing order or constitutes an abuse of the right of questioning, and to direct the question to be amended or entered in the order book with such alterations as may be necessary. The Speaker's review ensures that the questions are properly framed, comply with the standing orders, and may be tabled in an orderly and procedurally correct manner. According to Standing Order 15.2, accordingly, Standing Order 52 does not guarantee same-day tabling. Effective immediately, questions submitted during question time under Standing Order 15.2 will be received and reviewed by the Speaker. All questions will be tabled following the completion of the Speaker's review once deemed to be in full compliance with the standing orders. The procedure safeguards the rights of members, ensures the orderly management of parliamentary business, and confirms that all questions comply with the standing orders. Members are therefore expected to comply fully with these directions. As such, we can recommit question time for the member to submit to the clerk the questions. And then the Speaker will review the questions for the questions to be in keeping with the standing orders in accordance with 15.2, and once that review is done, then the questions will be tabled. Well, let us, you have a right to table in accordance with the standing orders. So let us proceed with that standing order. Yes. That is the Speaker's ruling, is it? No, that's the note. Just to be clear, members, I would have said earlier, and that was incorrect. What the Speaker has indicated is what I just read. That was her ruling that in keeping with the standing orders, during question time, the questions are to be tabled, and then they'll be reviewed by the Speaker to ensure that they're in keeping with the standing orders. It's very clear. It was sent to all members.
Member from St. Catherine Southeastern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Having followed the logic of the leader of government business and the ruling by the Speaker, what we are doing is concentrating the powers of a gatekeeper into the hands of the Speaker. Because if you submit something and the speaker decides that it's going to take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we can end up in a situation where the tabling of the questions will be delayed until the matter is no longer relevant. Now, where did this 24 hours come from? And why is it that we were referring to 24 hours and then the pushback to say that it was late by half an hour no longer stood? We're hearing now that it is going to be tabled during question time, and at the discretion of the speaker, maybe this year the questions will be deemed appropriate.
Member, the ruling from the speaker was from last December. So pay attention to that. It was from last December. So it's not just now. It has been here for at least a month or so.
Mr. Speaker, I rise simply for clarity. I was actually in the House one Tuesday afternoon when the Speaker made a big point about making sure that the questions came in time before. Yes, I was sitting here. No one told me. I heard it with my own 2 ears. In fact, the point that you have raised was the point a member sought to make. And he was made to seem as if he was ignorant to the standing orders. In fact, the Speaker did say that he should know better because he had been here before. And so I do not want us to just run across it like that and pretend that the Speaker did not give us different instructions separate to the note that she has written. In fact, if you just allow me, I'm ending now. In fact, the problem has been that in trying to keep order, sometimes the Speaker goes beyond, yes, what she is supposed to. And I think that just a little discretion and treating us as adults to listen to the points that we are making in that conversation could assist.
Mr. Speaker, you know, I'll start with the last point made by the member. One of the challenges that we've had in this House is probably that point about discretion. What the Speaker has consistently tried to do is to keep us in line with the standing orders. It doesn't have to do with treating anybody like children, but we are a parliament of rules, and the rules are contained in the standing orders. And if as adults we do not like the rules, if as adults we do not like the rules, we do not chastise the person who is keeping the rules. We use the processes to amend the rules. So it is very important that we do not misrepresent the approach of the Speaker. And the beauty with this Speaker, other than indicating her view, is that the Speaker reduces to writing in very clear terms her position and rulings on matters. And what she does is to consult and then to issue a ruling. So on the 2nd day of December, 2025, under Speaker's ruling on the House of Parliament documentation, the Speaker has a very clear ruling. So I ask all the members to familiarize themselves with the ruling. Secondly, to the member from St. Catherine, the standing orders does make the Speaker the gatekeeper. It is very clear. Standing Order 16 says, the 16.1 says, the right to ask a question shall be subject to the following general rules, as to the interpretation of which the Speaker shall be the sole judge. There's only one Speaker, and the Speaker has to be that judge. So again, to be clear, and I apologize to the House earlier in relation to not first consulting with the Speaker's very clear ruling. To be clear, when the House reaches the agenda item, question time, the member who is desirous of asking questions are to submit their questions to the clerk. The clerk will work with the Speaker in relation to the review of those questions. I appreciate the questions about time frame. It's one of the issues that the standing order is silent on. However, I am very sure, especially whether it be the Deputy Speaker or the Speaker, that it will be done in reasonable time. Reasonable is a construct of law. Reasonable time. Reasonable has to be depending on the questions, whether, remember, the Speaker is going to assess whether the questions fit in to the rules. So it depends. Member Bunting asked about 30 questions, 35, baby, under different categories. You understand? So I understand everybody. There is no attempt to frustrate. It's an attempt to put a system in place. Let's stick with the standing orders. Speaker.
Question and answers.
Mr.
Questions.
Speaker.
Questions and answer to questions.
Mr. Speaker, I had indicated long ago on my mic has been on. That's why I'm catching his eye now. A mic has been on before the leader spoke.
Member from St. Catherine Southern, go ahead.
First, I want the removal of the member from Western Kingston. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the matter of the rulings of the Speaker in recent times have become very controversial. And it is unusual. It is unusual. The standing order in number 72, Privileges Committee of Parliament. The standing order allows for the rules that govern the operations, the privileges be settled.
Let me hear the point of order. Turn your mic on, please.
I think it's very inappropriate to be discussing a matter involving the Speaker in the absence of the Speaker. And furthermore, and furthermore, Mr. Speaker, to question the standing orders on which the Parliament is operating. Mr. Speaker, I believe that it is a point of order. It is a point of order.
Continue
and the members are using this for grandstanding. The grandstanding. And you should not allow it, Mr. Speaker. You should not. Not yet.
My mic was on. Okay.
Members, if you continue to have the crosstalk, then we will just continue with the business of the House. I gave you the floor, and you started to make some comments, which is no way in keeping with the standing order that you're raising on. Understand? Please. No, you don't have to respond to my comment. You stand on the ground to make a statement. Go ahead quickly with it. So, all right, so we can move on then because you weren't making a statement.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Member from St. Catherine Southern, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker. Hold on, Faith. Hold on, Faith. Mr. Speaker, Faith. Hold on.
Member from St. Catherine, so sit.
Turn his mic on.
I will say this. When I asked a member to sit a while ago, I asked a member from St. Catherine Southern to sit because his mic from I was asking the member whose mic was on to sit so I could address you. But you continue to shout across the floor. I am saying to you, your mic was on, and before you could even start to make your presentation, you were cross-talking with another member. You did. I am going to ask your member. I am going to ask you to sit now. I am going to ask you to sit. Member from St. Catherine Southwestern. I am ruling on this. I am asking the member from St. Catherine Southwestern. Your mic is lighted up and I'm going to turn it on now. You are the person who have the floor.
No, Mr. Speaker. No.
Hold on.
Mr. Speaker, my mic is
Mr.
on now and
Speaker.
I will speak.
Sit.
My mic is on now.
Member, the only reason you're behaving in that manner now, I simply gave you the floor. All you did was I'm giving the person next to speak, and he is going to speak. Member from St. Catherine South. Member from St. Catherine South.
Oi, Mota.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, all I wish to say at the outset, one,
rulings from the chair, from the Speaker's chair, have been most controversial in recent times. This Parliament has seen speakers from both sides. It has never happened before. We have never had these levels of controversies about the Speaker's ruling. They have been easily adhered to by either side. We have walked that road before. The Privileges Committee in the Parliament sets out a way to arrive at a consensus around how the House's business are conducted. It is not for the Speaker to unilaterally, arbitrarily set rules on the running of the House. And there's a reason for that, Mr. Speaker. The Parliament will change from time to time. And whichever side is in government is expected to abide by the commonly agreed rules. And it's for that reason why the rules in the House ought to be arrived at through consensus on both sides. Not by the opposition by itself, and neither by the government. It's a parliament of members. And all we're asking for, the rules that will obtain as it regards to questions or any other matters, private members' motion, how they are dealt with procedurally, they be settled there. The ruling of the Speaker as an umpire is to ensure that the decision of the moment when the House is in session is in keeping with those agreed provisions. Now, Mays, that is not a standing order, is recognized because it says both sides must agree. So even if the standing order is not explicit on a particular point, there is nonetheless an agreed way in which those matters are dealt with. Mr. Speaker, I respectfully and humbly submit. Yes. If we continue with that convention, which has not been controversial before, we won't have much of the problems that we're having in the House. And for heaven's sake, we don't want posterity to judge the tenure of this House in a very unfavorable way. So I make a plea. Let us just revert to an orderly, balanced way of how the House business is conducted. I have, lastly, before I take my seat, I have in the past Parliament prepared questions, submitted them before time, and it's 1.5 months before they're able to end up reaching here. I've been on the receiving end myself, which has not been in keeping with the conventions of the Parliament. So I make my plea, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the House Leader make reference to ruling by the Speaker. You read section of the standing order. But may I draw the House's attention to the fact that the Speaker's ruling cannot be in conflict with the standing orders. And if such rulings are in conflict with the standing order supersedes any ruling from any Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to add my concern to the conversation because I don't know if I'm hearing something differently, but it's coming across from what I've heard, member said from St. Catherine South, as if the Speaker is on a frolic of her own, as if she's doing, no, let me finish, please. And that is not my experience, and that's not what I heard the House Leader read. The House Leader read the ruling of the Speaker, which from listening to it, the Speaker's ruling was consistent with the standing order. So member from St. Catherine South, if you're asking the Speaker to be consistent with the standing order, then the ruling of the Speaker is proper. Her action in relation to questions be posed or tabled is in line, is consistent. To ask her, not the Speaker, not to do that would be asking her to be inconsistent with the standing order. So I just want to make the point very clearly, Mr. Speaker. Let us not paint the picture that the Speaker is operating in a manner that's not consistent with the standing order, because that's not true. That's not true. The Speaker, the ruling is very clear. It is consistent with the standing order.
So, Mr. Speaker, I think the member from Clarendon Central was on point in relation to his framing of it, and also the member from St. Catherine Southwestern, that whatever the Speaker rules has to be in accordance with the standing order. There has been no controversial ruling by the Speaker, and it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that it is framed like that. There may be rulings that people don't agree with. That is that doesn't rise to controversy, right? No. On this matter, the member from St. Catherine South is correct. You only go to Mays for interpretation if the provision is not clear. There is no lack of clarity in relation to these provisions. The challenge is that they have not been adhered to over the years. This Speaker is saying we are adhering to the standing order, and that will benefit every member of the House. As the member from Manchester Southern tabled these questions, would have been answered in the time, were it not for I couldn't be here that day, and he got it the next time at bat. The member from St. Catherine Southwestern has moved his private member's motion. They have been debated in keeping with the standing order. The member from St. Catherine Southwestern, you don't have to get up. I'm talking no. Don't tell me about that. I'm talking no. What I'm saying, we are adhering to the standing orders. Thank you.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. I hope you have watched the full clip and you have seen how the debate it has been going on. Actually, I would like to say that if the whole world will learn the procedures the Jamaicans normally do, they'll be able to make sure that their people are safe. Actually, I have seen the opposition which have been given the priority and they enact their laws accordingly. They do how they are supposed to do so that they can protect the life of its citizens. Also, the LBA, I think they have allowed themselves to be confronted so that they can learn where they have done wrong so that they can go and rectify. I feel have been from the debate during Melissa Hurricane, that disaster caused the problems across the Jamaican, and many people in that area have not been compensated. I feel I've been most of that leader who was projecting electricity to be applied across those people. Now it reflects the life of their people. When people are being subjected to electricity, they will be able to do their things accordingly. Also, the business will grow because electricity normally help in efficient other activities. For example, if you want a place to grow or to develop, when there is supply of electricity, that area automatically will grow. And that is why the layer has said that those people, those parties that were affected are supposed to be supplied by electricity so that electricity can help those residents who stay in those parts in Jamaica. And I have seen that it's very good. It was a nice suggestion because when you look at the whole world, the people have been transformed and now have gone to a digital lifestyle. Now, I agree with the PLB. I agree with the suggestion because electricity is something that can normally perform many things. Um, uh, when you have electricity, there's it causes it reduces insecurity. It leads to the development of a certain area because people will engage in business in that area, and that is why I agree with the person who have raised that concern to the people. And I know that as Jamaican, how you normally you think, I will react that actually do take this serious, do uh, as it has been suggested, because across the world people respect Jamaica most. People know that if you want to learn, you need to learn from Jamaica. So when we hear that Jamaicans are the people, they don't have electricity, people outside will wonder why. And that is why I agree that the PLP, the JLP, the government should support to do what is supposed to be done. Should be supply electricity to those victims so that they can also be accessible to power supply. And as we have seen also the concern that were raised by some of the PLP that the government cannot be run by a speaker who is from the same family with the president, with the prime minister. We have seen that the speaker is the wife of the prime minister, and the speaker is the second in command. It means it is the speaker who is running the government of Jamaica, which is not good because we will be practicing what we call nepotism, and that will lead to conflict. So I say that in my reaction, I say that just rectify that so that you can equalize the people of Jamaica because when a leadership is being equalized, it will mean that the government is working closely with its people. So just rectify that so that let just appoint a speaker who can run that parliament so that the members uh, can feel they are well accommodated, not to be, she might be doing something that is very nice, but some of the honorable members will not feel convicted, they feel that they have been left out. So I suggested just rectify that. And also, the parliament normally do various activities, enact laws, and if we call prior what is supposed to be done, it will lead to something that is supposed to be done. We don't need uncertainty in Jamaica because most people across the world love Jamaica. And I will also say that there as the opposition, how they work with the government. I have seen it something that is very good. Uh, the opposition raises their concern and also the government raises their concern so that they formulate something that will help the people. I think that is very good. And I say that you Jamaicans, wherever you are, just drop your comment so that we can learn. We can have more reactions. What are the government should supposed to do? What are the opposition should supposed to do? And how the parliament should be run? So just drop your comment, and I shall appreciate. And I would like to say that my gratitude goes to the original creators of these videos, and also I thank those who have subscribed and those who are coming back to watch this video. Thank you. Just continue like that. Have that spirit. Let us meet the next video. Thank you, guys.